Hi, I'm Alan Nelson, and in this edition of Lead Young Institute, we're going to talk to you about why one style of leading is going to be ineffective. You're going to fail. And we're going to introduce 4 different styles and the situations they're most apt to be effective. This helps us understand why some leaders don't do well over time and others seem to do well constantly. We welcome you to this edition of Lead Young Institute, a series designed for 15 to 30-year-olds who want to be a better boss. Now, there are a lot of reasons why people wear caps. Maybe they support a sports team, or it's a bad hair day, or if you're like me, you want to keep the top of your head from sunburning. Now, there are fitted caps, which tend to be more expensive, and there are one-size-fits-all caps, kind of like this, where you can always adjust it. These tend to be cheaper, which is probably why most of mine are like that. But there is no one-size-fits-all for leading. You need to be able to change styles to fit the situation. So let's talk about that. A few years ago, 2 professors named Hershey and Blanchard got together and they came up with a model called situational leadership. The model took off and became very, very popular. So let me explain my version of that, respectfully called Sich Leading, based on situational leading. The first Sich leading style is called Tell, thus the bullhorn. So when you tell people, you basically are very directive, you give them instructions, you let them know what to do. Now this is a really good style in crisis situations, when you have limited time and people need to know right away what to do. Maybe they are unmotivated, or maybe they don't understand what needs to be done, so you need to tell them what to do. Sometimes I do work for the government and the military, and obviously in war scenarios, you need to be very direct and very specific because lives are at stake. Let's just say, for example, that you're on a co-ed soccer team, and Sarah is out doing some early maneuvers to warm up, and she runs into the goal post, and she starts bleeding from her head. She's on the ground. What do? Well, you would run over to her and you say, "Hey, Kyle, dial 911. And you'd say, "Hey, Jill, why don't you go get the coach?" And you might say, "Hey, Fred, go get some water and a towel and apply pressure to her forehead." So that's a crisis situation where you need to direct and give commands. But obviously, most situations are not like that. So if you come across that way, you'll be perceived as bossy. People won't like you. So although there are a few situations where tell is very effective, many times it is less effective, and you want to be careful how you use it. The second Sich style is what we call sell. Sell. Now, sell is a very popular one because if you have a little bit of time, it gives you usually better ideas and also makes the team feel that you've listened as a leader and there's more buy-in. They're more committed to it. This is really effective when you want to get the best ideas out, but also you don't have a long time to decide and to think about the best solution. So you get some ideas from the people, and then you choose what you think is best, and then you sell them on it. Let me give you an example. Let's just say that you're in charge of a charity event, and you have some people there and some resources, and your job is to organize everything. So you might have a standing meeting, and you say, "Hey, folks, what can we do to organize this? Share some ideas." And so you'll hear a few ideas, and then you'll say, "We're running out of time. I really like what Susie said. She said, let's divide up into roles. So how about if you do this, you do the setup, and you 3 people, you go over here and you welcome people as they come, and you 3 people, you make sure that you coordinate and let us know if we're running out of anything." So basically you're selling. Now, the downside of selling is that sometimes because you don't have a lot of time, people didn't get to share their idea, or sometimes if you only pick your idea, they know when you're really not truly listening. So you don't want to trick them, you want to use it well, but sell is a great style when you have a little bit of time to get other ideas and to get buy-in from your team. The third Sich style is what we call gel. Now, I have a box of Jell-O here. You may not know what it is, but Jell-O is this sort of powdery substance that when you put hot water in it and put it in a pan and then refrigerate it, Over time, it will turn into a really cool, smooth, kind of rubbery substance that's really delicious to eat. Now, gel leadership style works really well when you have a lot of time. Also, what's helpful is if you have people who are highly motivated to be on the team, and if they sort of understand the situation or they have an expertise in it, they're knowledgeable. What you do is you get them together, you talk about ideas, the best ideas emerge, but then people have buy-in because now they own the idea. They don't just rent the idea, and they're going to be more committed to it. Let's just say, for example, that you're in charge of a committee and you're going to design an event for a fundraiser for your school. So you have about 3 or 4 months to plan for it. So you start meeting and you get everyone around a table. The ideas are shared. You write them on a whiteboard or a flip chart, and then you meet again and you take these ideas further and you talk about the benefits and you talk about the risks. What are the pros? What are the cons? And then eventually 1 or 2 ideas emerge as the best. Now, the good thing about this is that usually you'll have the best ideas and people will feel committed to it. The downside of gel is it takes time, and sometimes it takes a lot of time. The second potential risk is that if you have some strong personalities in the group, sometimes they can persuade people to buy into an idea that really isn't the best idea. But generally, if you have plenty of time, if you have a knowledgeable and motivated team, gel is a great style to take in leading. The fourth Sitch style is what we call DEL. DEL is short for delegate, and I picked a credit card just to kind of symbolize that, because when you delegate responsibilities to people, usually it's because they're competent, they're motivated, and you can trust them. When you have that kind of team, you don't want to use gel or sell, and certainly not tell, because they will think you're micromanaging, that you're being bossy, that you don't trust them. But if you have really strong team members, you can delegate, you can empower them. Now, like the credit card, if someone lets you use their credit card, the bill still comes back to them, the owner. So when you are the leader, when you delegate, you still have to own it. You have to take responsibility. Now, if they fail, you have to help take responsibility. If they succeed, you can take responsibility. But the great leaders, they let the success go to the team members. They affirm them. So again, if you have a team that's motivated, if you have a team that's excited, you can delegate. You can say, Jill, I want you to be in charge of this. And Kyle, you can be in charge of this. And Jean, you can be in charge of this. And Sean, you can be in charge of this. And then you check in. You don't give up on them. You empower them, and you'll have great success. So DEL is wonderful in the situations where it can work, but you got to make sure that you've tested the situation and then run with it. So those are the 4 Sitch leadership styles. There's tell, there's sell, there's gel, and there's DEL. Now at the beginning of this video, I used this one-size-fits-all hat, but now I'm going to flip the metaphor. Because you see, in this scenario, it allows us to adjust the size of the hat so someone else can wear it. Or if my hair grows out, or maybe it's sticking out, or maybe I get a haircut, we can adjust the fit. That is our goal for situational leaders. We want you to adjust the fit and respond to what the situation needs. That's why certain leaders are really good at a time, and then they fade out. They're no longer effective because the needs of the organization changed. We want you to succeed. We want you to be able to fit the situation and then adjust your leadership style so you're successful. I hope you enjoyed this session of Lead Young Institute, designed for 15 to 30-year-olds to become better bosses. Take advantage of some of the resources in the description section below this video. I'm Alan Nelson. I hope that until we meet again, you'll lead on.